Okay. So Monday's game against Wolves is being set up as a trap game, in my mind. Let me know what you think. But yes, this is a trap game. I've referenced it before. It's just the way things are going with United and the type of team that Wolves are. It is setting up that Wolves could eventually take a W from us. That's what it is. I'm always going for the win. And I'm hoping that my next two episodes, I'm discussing a Man United win against West Ham for the women's squad, and Monday night, I'm talking about a win for the men's squad. That's what I'm hoping for. But we don't always get what we want. But going into this game, it has that feeling like I mentioned. Why? Because, our players play down to our opponents. They're not going to go out there and expect whatever. They know what they need to do. They need to finish. They need to have discipline and consistency. I always do say this. Why? Because they don't. We've been consistently not being able to close out games. We haven't been able to finish opportunities, and we consistently have been in and out, not been successful. So, yeah, I'm going to preach that. Consistency, discipline, and finish. We always go through this. But this squad, I'm going to say it, they're mentally weak. And as much as we have acquisitions and everything as well, this game, this player's leadership have not been able to close it out. You can talk about the manager. You can say about substitutions. But let me tell you this. The players that are there, that are on the field, that are assigned tasks, they don't complete them usually. You can talk about this player being on and then all the goals are conceived, but when we look at that corner on Thursday, you see everyone but Mazraoui pinched to where the ball was going. Everyone left the man unmarked. That was what led to the drop. But let's talk about substitutions. That we've had errors where we've had our starting lineup there, and Amorim got the gist of it because he didn't make the right substitutions at the time, or he didn't make any at the time. But right now, we're at a point where the players need to start stepping up. And I know I mentioned before, and the Amorim outers and everything, this game is here to show what our players' mentality is. This is an important game for Wolves and for us. Wolves need to get a win because they haven't been playing well. And a draw may satisfy them, but a draw cannot satisfy Manchester United. A loss definitely would be chaotic. And the way the fan base, the media is pointing it as, we're at the tip of the iceberg. And this squad is the reason why. This squad has had opportunities to try and score and win, but they cannot. They can consistently fail on the pitch. Yes, as much as we've had only one loss in 8, the draws that we've gotten have not been great. We have had struggles in some wins, but we've always known along what this roster was. Everyone jumped on as soon as we started being Liverpool and so on and so forth, and everyone assumed that we were back and we're going to the Champions League in October. But let's dismiss that and look what they need to do. Listen, I'm going to have my lineup. Amorim's going to have a set of players, but we are going into Wolves knowing with trouble. That's what it is. Am I confident that we can pull it out? I'm always going to go for a win when it comes to Manchester United. And like I've said, I'm hoping that Monday I am discussing wins about our women's squad and our men's squad. That's what I'm hoping for. But right now, these players have to show up. They have to be able to score goals. They have to go in knowing that they shouldn't be playing down to their opponent. They should be playing their set of ball. But the mentality of these players, I shouldn't say all the players on Manchester United, but the mentality of some of them that affect those other players is weak. Should I say cowardly? Hard. That's kind of tough to say, but I would say yes. Because these guys are not doing what's right for the squad. They're not doing what's right for the club, their manager, everything around. We may not know everything that's going on, but we watch them on the pitch every week. And we know that they tend to just falter, and it starts from stem to stern. Like, our captain has to be the leader in this game. He has to know what's going on. I don't care if he can run a marathon in a game. What I care about is his discipline, passing the ball, moving it forward, and following the instructions of his manager, and making sure everyone around him is following those same instructions. He has to rally this team back if they're in trouble. I don't care that last year at this time we were collapsing with certain games and that we've been maintaining it. I don't want that satisfaction. I want to win. I want that win on Monday. I want them to close it out. But this team here, this squad, and it's going to be the squad that I'm choosing. You know what? Some of these players know how to do it, but some of these players just, cannot do it. And I don't care if you're playing out of position. You've been assigned there to do that position, and you know what needs to be done. No flip-flopping, no throwing hands, no erratic tackles, no cards. You have to play disciplined football. And unfortunately, we don't get that. Sometimes it is on Amram. He is the manager. But these players here cause probably more issues that we go towards the manager for than we actually should have. But again, there is player power. We can discuss player power. I don't want this preview to be about this in a rant. But these players here have to step up. That's what my preview is. Listen, we know Wolves have struggled this season. They've had 2 draws, 2 points. They're at the bottom of the table. And listen, we know how Man United have been playing. We know that we're basically setting up for, that Wolves can actually get their first win against us. Is that concerning? Yes. But if the Wolves were to get their win, and I hope if they do get it, it's well deserved. But this says more about the players than it does say about Ruben Amorim and Ineos and all of them. It says here these players cannot handle pressure and close it out. That these players struggle when the game is on the line. And it may not be every player, but it's going to be certain players to point at. And that is the concern. These players here have to realize that every game is important. They cannot look past this game because I guarantee it, Everton, Crystal Palace, and West Ham, every game those players look past it. Guaranteed. The fan base we know that, but we know the mentality as well. We're just going to go through Everton. No, we can't even show up and do anything against 10 men. We'll beat Crystal Palace. Okay, cool. Set piece is done. But we still couldn't do anything on the attack or anything with our movement. Going to West Ham, we'll go up 1-0. But we'll take those opportunities to try and score, but we can't score. We can't control the game, and so on and so forth. And we let the teams back in. And those players that are given assigned duties falter. They do. So let's go into there. And listen, they have to show up on Monday. I said before, with the women's squad, who's coming off of a tough break for Super League and Champions League, they need to have a redemption game. As much as we've drawn and won our last 2, we had a draw and a win in our last 2, how about we show up? How about we get our redemption here? This is where we step in and take control and play our best game. Because right now, everything leading up to this game is showing that there is a potential for a loss. And I always say I go for the win, and I'm hoping for the win. And I'm hoping to discuss a win on Monday night's episode. But if this squad cannot control the ball, invite teams back in, which they do, and none of this 5 at the back or whatever, they need to step up and be there. They have to. They didn't do 5 at the back against Everton. It was 3 at the back. You had players in positions of wing backs. They did not close everything out. The players failed. A lot of these games have been on the players. Sometimes some of them have been on the manager. But for the mentality of this game, not being able to close out and go through it, they need to go. So these players need to show up on Monday. The players that I'm choosing for Monday's match, listen, the signings of Lamens and Mbeumo, Cunha, I've been fine with. Same with Sesko. It's just stuff that Sesko's out injured. It's going to take him time to get himself back when he's back from injury. But looking at this game, here, Mazraoui, De Ligt is expected to be back, and Shaw. So having those 3 there, Ahmad, it's going to be Ahmad, Casemiro, Bruno, and Dalot in the middle, and then my upfront attack. We're going to go with a similar attack like we did at the beginning of the season. Mount, in Cunha, and Mbeumo. That's what they have to do. Listen, we have to move the ball. We have to be disciplined. We have to be controlled. We cannot let the midfield be overrun. We cannot have players running around. We need to make sure that we're in control. And unfortunately, we've been struggling with that all season. Shaw has been great. He's been okay, but he has been struggling as of late. So again, this is what I think, but chances are we may see adjustments. We may see Euro instead of Shaw. That would be a good back 3, Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Shaw. Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Euro. Listen, I would like to have Manu get minutes. Casemiro, he can be taken off for Manu. Ugarte, who has struggled getting Dorgu in so he can get minutes because he's young. Xerxes, I know I'm not bringing him in. But we may see him get some minutes as well, especially with players leaving for AFCON. And you want to make sure he starts getting himself into the system. Will we see academy players? Maybe. Hard to say. We may see them on the bench. But the one thing I want to make a comment on, actually, you know what? I'll leave that comment after I'm set to leave the episode. But these players here have to be able to move the attack. They have to be able to move around, pressure, move the ball, capitalize on those mistakes. They cannot let them be overrun. It's not even about being overrun. It's just making sure these players do not invite the Wolves back in and give them opportunities. That's what it is. These players have opportunities to close out the game and move the ball. They have to be able to be there. This Man United squad has been struggling to try and close out games. Like I mentioned, consistency, discipline, and finish. We don't see that in the last few games. It has been terrible. So these players need to step up on Monday. This preview episode sounds like a downer. I do apologize. But the way things have been going, it has every right to be. And this type of game here has a right for me to set up this type of tone. So, listen, Lamens, he's been fine since he's been signed. And Mbeumo, he's struggled the last couple of games, but hopefully for a rebound back. Cunha, hopefully gets him a step. This is an important game for Cunha. He's going back to his former club to play against them. Mount, he's great for that 90 minutes, but he has to be, fit and ready to go for Monday as well. So hopefully for that attack, but that's the lineup I'm going with. I'm just going for the win. Be comfortable, be consistent, close it out. So I'm going to leave it there for my preview for the discussion. But yeah, the one thing I was going to mention about the academy players now. Listen, we do have academy players. Some of them might be ready. Some of them might not be. But the one thing too is Amram is always not using the academy players. There's always a reason potentially for that. He's had them on the bench, but to bring them on, and he wants to protect them. And in this environment, for what's going on in these type of games, he has every right to protect those players, those kids. These are young kids. If these kids go on and not do what you expect, I'm not saying what the manager expects, what this fan base expects, they will be torn apart. They will be. They're going to be shredded and they're going to be targeted. Not like when I say targeted, they're going to be, used and broken down, and they're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about the players. Why did Amram use academy players? Why did he bring them on? He's not ready yet. Well, this fan base wants academy players to play, but he has every right to protect those players from making sure that they're ready. Make sure that they're actually ready to go in for this type of game. Because Harry Amos, he used him last year. The reason why Harry Amos is out on loan right now, because Harry Amos wouldn't have gotten minutes. Maybe he would have gotten minutes at the wing back. We could have seen that. We may have had that potential of Harry Amos getting in there for that, especially with what we're struggling with right now. But if other academy players came in who have not made their debut, who have or are not ready yet to handle that type of pressure, he's trying to protect them from the media, from the fan base, to make sure those players are able to succeed properly. And that is the one thing that's a manager needs to look out for. He's not just looking out for their stuff. He's looking out for to make sure that they're protected and they're able to handle everything when the time is right. And some of these players you will see in the FA Cup. We will probably see academy players in the FA Cup. So looking forward to that when the time comes. But right now in certain games, we want to make sure those academy players are protected and that they're able to handle the pressures of the badge, of going into the game, and also of this fan base as well. Listen, that's it for today's episode of the pod. I'll be back tomorrow with the post game of West Ham. I'll be back Monday as well with the post game against the Wolves. Hopefully, again, I am talking about 2 Manchester United wins, so we're hoping for that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the games. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. This is the Red Devils Corner Kick podcast. Glory, glory, Man United.